I am Dr. Marjorie Rusche, and today we are going to talk about triad and chord identification, chord symbols, Roman numeral analysis, triad relationships within a key, and also look at a song, Amazing Grace, to help you put all these concepts to music, connect it to actual music literature. We'll have a combination of lecture, class discussion, class participation, triad and chord identification. First, some terms. Doubling. When we talk about doubling in music, it means one of the notes has been doubled, or perhaps two, or perhaps three. So you might be looking at a chord, which is a vertical collection of notes, and it really basically might just be a triad. For instance, please take a handout that's on the music stand. It will be useful to you. Let's say, and we're going to start this off in C major. Every fundamentals music student favorite key. And I've got a bunch of notes up here. I've got C, G, E, C, E, G, C. And that's going to sound like this. I'll have to arpeggiate it. Okay, a lot of notes, but it's really one triad, a C major triad. What do? We retain the bass note, and we use this note. We want to stack our notes in thirds. Since right now we're basically dealing with tertian harmony. And so I've taken care of that one. Here's an E. I put this in close spacing. So I'm going to take this E and drop it an octave, which means I put it there. Okay, we're done with that note. Our next note up is what? What's this one?
C.
Right, it's C. We've already got C. I'm eliminating the doubling. What's this one?
E.
E, right, good. We already have that. This one?
G.
G, we already have it. We've already got that. So we've really got a C major triad. Okay? And I just arpeggiated the chord. That's just one note after the other. I can't play them all at once. I don't have that large of a handspan, so I arpeggiate. Even if I arpeggiate slightly, break the chord, have one note after the other, it's still a C major triad, right? Right now, you have four basic types of chords, right? Major chords, minor chords, augmented, and diminished. I'll write these on the board. And so I've got C, E, G. And as we know, if we're working with a C major scale, here I'm calling the key C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I stay in the key. Here's 1, scale degree 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm calling this 1 because C is a duplication of C. So if I take the first note, the third note, and the fifth note, I'm taking triads, right? I'm skipping thirds. C, E, G. I've got C major, right? Because of course C to E is a major third, C to G is a perfect fifth. Now if we lower that major third by a half step, I do this by putting a flat in front of it, then I've got C, E flat, G, C minor, and we use lowercase letters for minor keys. And let's say, besides lowering the third, I lower the fifth. Then I've got a C diminished. C, E flat, G flat, 2 minor thirds stacked on top of each other. And then I'm going over here. Here's the C major chord, right? But now I'm going to sharp the G. C, E, G sharp. I've increased the size of the interval from C to G. It's now an augmented fifth. So I've got an augmented triad. And this sounds like kind of like a train whistle going by. C, E, G sharp. I'm going to play C major. C, E, G. I'm going to lower the third and play C minor. And I'm going to lower the fifth, which will be a diminished C, E flat, G flat. Let's have you get a little bit of paper and a pencil, please. And I'm going to play you some chords. We'll have a little bit of ear training. Now on page 317 of this book, they give you a little place for ear training, and they give you a CD along with the text so you can practice before class. I'm going to play some chords, and I'll ask you to identify the quality. You've got 4 choices: minor, major, augmented, diminished. Does anybody want to hear those again? Hands? No? Okay, let's try this. And here's number 1. I'll play it as a block chord, and I'll also arpeggiate it. Arpeggiate one note after the other. I'll do that again. Same chord, number 1. And just write down what you think it is. Not the chord name, but just the chord quality. Is it minor, major, augmented, or diminished? Okay. Number 2. And I'm going to limit these chords to just have a root of C, or a tonic note of C. Number 2. might sound similar to another chord you just heard. Okay, number 3. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6. Okay, let's see how we did on that. Just our little practice in identifying chord quality. Number 1, anybody?
Minor.
Yes, minor. C, E flat, G. Good. And since I based all of these with a root on C, number 2 was the exact same chord, minor. C, E flat, G. Okay, number 3, major, right. C, E, G, good. And number 4, again, minor, good. C, E flat, G. Minor third from C to E flat, okay. And number 5, anybody?
Diminished.
Yes, very good, diminished. Minor third from C to E flat, minor third from E flat to G flat, diminished fifth from C to G flat. Good. And one more.
Major.
Major, yay, C, E, G. Good. There are a lot of different ways of identifying sounds. One way, looking at page 318, is through a lead sheet used by jazz and popular musicians. And what happens here, we have a folk tune, Amazing Grace. Can you all see that? And you also have it in your handout. And we have the tune. This is our lead sheet, right? That jazz and pop musicians use. We have a big C representing C major. That's the first chord we use. That'll harmonize or go with the melody. In here we have another C major chord. C, E, G makes sense because our melody notes are C, E, C, and those notes taken together, of course, imply C major. Then we've got a C major chord, there's a slash, and then G, which means G is the bass note. The triad is C major, but the bass note is G. A minor. We use the A minor chord to harmonize this C. Next chord, the melody pitch is A. We harmonize that with an F major chord. For this G, this whole measure, we harmonize with C major. Next line down, saved. Our melody pitch is C. We harmonize this with a C major chord. Next measure, melody note is E. We have a C major chord, then there's a slash, and then the bass note is G. On the third beat, we've speeded up our harmonic rhythm a little bit, and the melody note is D. The chord we use to harmonize is G with an F as the bass note. The high G, we've got a C major chord with E in the bass, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to play this for you. Since there's no really written accompaniment, I can arpeggiate, I can do a wall space, or just do a block chord. Everything I played is a C major triad. If you want, you can sing the melody along an octave lower if you want to. I don't know how many people have an high G in here. Okay. And do you want one with a treble or a bass clef? Treble. Yeah, okay. Treble. Formerly known as the G clef, since this curve means that line is G. Okay, so we're going to look at the third example. And this is going to be, oh, this is a good one. You'll like it. Okay. What could that be?
You want to have some flavor of E in there.
Well, there's a E, right. Let's make sure we can identify the pitches. This is E, right?
G.
G,
C.
right, good. So it's E, G, and C. So how would you rearrange those so you could stack them in thirds? We want to put those notes into a close spacing. Yep. Right. And then what can we do with that top note? Yes. Great. So therefore, it's stacked in what's the root of the chord?
C.
Yeah, C is the root of the chord. What kind of chord is this? It's C.
Major.
Yes, it's C major. Right. So it's a C major chord, so we can just put a big C in this terminology. Where's the eraser here? Okay, that's great. But then, you can have the chalk. It's not, C is not the bass note, so we need to indicate the bass note. So we put a slash, and then we write the name of the bass note, which is, as you recognized, E. Great. Okay? Makes sense? Yes, good. And those are these notes, if you want to play them. So we've got capital C / capital E, a C major triad, but E is the bass pitch. Here's E, G, C. Go ahead. Good. Right, and first she arpeggiated and then played a block chord. Good, great. Have a seat. Thank you. I'm going to have you do an example from part B. And still with the bass clef. And I'm going to ask you to write this. Okay. So, here's a G sharp. So you know you've got to start on a G sharp. And we're just writing chords. We're not thinking in a key right now, but just writing chords. Good. So you've got a G sharp. And then this means minor. So then make a G sharp minor chord. Good. And then that's your third. So you've got root third, and from G sharp to B is, of course, A minor third. Now you need to put your fifth. G sharp, right. Okay, so that's G sharp minor, but that's not all of the symbol we're given. We also have a flat 5. So when you see flat 5, it doesn't necessarily mean that the fifth note is flat, but it means that you have to lower the fifth a half step. So we have to lower the D sharp a half step. And how do we do that?
You'd make it natural.
Yeah. Right. Good. Great. Good. Thanks. Roman numeral analysis. The relationships of chords within a key. And here we have an example of Amazing Grace. This is also in your packets with a Roman numeral analysis. So you can look up here or look at your packets. And John Newton wrote the text, and the melody is anonymous. And I've made a workspace, just like they have you do in your textbook, in which you eliminate pitch duplications and closely space the chord in order to get the essential triad. Okay. 3/4 time. Our first chord, of course, is C major, but we're in a certain key, C major. So we call this a 1 chord or a tonic chord. 1, 1, 1, 6, 1, 6, 4, 5, 7, 6, 4, 1, 1. They are related to each other structurally. Let's go back to the board and let's go back to our bass clef and let's go back to C major. This is a C, right? The first scale degree. If I were to stack notes from the key of C in thirds on top of this root, C, E, G, And right now we're in the key of C major, I get a 1 chord. Okay. D is the second note or the second scale degree of the C major scale. So it gets a little 2. It is a 2 chord, DFA. It's lowercase because it has a minor chord quality. These are diatonic chords. All the pitches are taken from the scale of C major. C, D, E is the third pitch in our scale. And this is going to give us a minor 3 chord. It's very logical. And step by step, F, right? F, remember these 2 little dots, the line in between and the bass clef is F. 4th scale degree. And we've got our big major 4 or subdominant chord. G is the 5th note of the C major scale, or the dominant pitch. Good thing chalk erases. Okay, what's next in our C major scale? What letter comes next? Yes, A. What we all long for, A. That's the 6th scale degree. If I build stack thirds, all taken from notes that are in the C major scale, I get a minor 6 chord, right? And then I go to B, 7. And this little circle indicates a diminished triad, B, D, F. And then I go back to where I started, only an octave higher, C, E, G, back to the tonic, okay? Very logical. And it works for every single key. So if you know all of your key signatures, for major and minor keys, all you have to do is double check your clef, double check your key signature, write out the correct scale, and then you can figure out the chords. Okay? Now, we have in our structural harmony also figure-based symbols or inversions. So, here we are in C major, and C major. One, right? Now, there's a 5th from C to G, and there's a 3rd from C to E. So I've got a 1, 5, 3 chord. The big Roman numerals tell us the function of the chord within the key. These little Arabic numerals tell us about the spacing of the notes within the chord. Okay? Since we're assuming tertian harmony, frequently those numbers are understood, so we just leave them out. All right, I'm going to invert this one time. Inversion, I'm going to put the bottom note on top. Let me make sure to center my note carefully. To give an example of what you should do when you're doing your homework, you want carefully centered notes so everything is very clear. And here I have a 1-6-3 chord or a first inversion chord, okay? This note, C, went an octave higher. We do this for greater variety of sound. So now I've got E, G, C. Once again, the thirds are understood. So in common practice, we call first inversion chords just 1-6. 1-6, okay? And I'm going to invert again. So now I've got G, C, E, and I've got the interval of a sixth from the bass note to the top note, and then I've got the interval of a fourth also. So I've got a second inversion triad, or a 1-6-4. Okay? Any questions on that? The same method works if you're in the parallel key of C minor. But of course, lowercase c, lowercase m, C minor has B flat, E flat, A flat for its key signature. Therefore, this becomes lowercase 1 because I've got C, E flat, G. Okay. The system of inversions is the same for major or minor keys. All right, let me play these for you. C major, the tonic chord or the one chord in the key of C. D minor, the two chord or supertonic chord. It's a supertonic chord in the key of C. E minor, built on E, the three chord or the mediant triad. F major, FAC, the four chord, or also called the subdominant chord. G, B, D, G major, or the five chord, the dominant chord in the key of C. Sometimes we add another note to this chord. Root, third, fifth, seventh, then we get a 5-7. You get that in your next chapter. Here we've just got the dominant, okay? Sixth scale degree of C is A, C, E. The sixth chord or the submediant. Then I go to BDF, the diminished seventh chord or leading tone triad, and C major. Okay, so what do you think?
So this would be a supertonic.
This would be a supertonic, yes. So go ahead and write supertonic. Super, one above tonic. Okay. And it's a 2. Do you know how to write? I'll just write supertonic. It's like you go to McDonald's and you get fries and they ask you to supersize it. We're supertonic in this. Okay, supertonic, one above tonic. All right, good. How about this one?
This would be dominant.
Okay, yes, it would. So let's put our symbol for the dominant. Good. And we want to, the dominant is a major chord, and to indicate major, we need to put Make sure you put these lines, otherwise it's going to look like you're writing a minor dominant. Good. And can you write dominant? Do you know how to spell the word dominant? Okay. Beautiful. Great. Anybody have questions on this? Okay. It's very logical. You've got to make sure you've got the right clefs and the right key signatures. And if you're still not sure of all the key signatures, go back earlier and looking. All right, do you want to play this? Okay, here we are. We're in the key of B flat major, and we're going to have our scale. Okay, and you can go ahead and have a seat if you want. So our left hand, our bass clef with our supertonic chord, we've got C and G. Go ahead and play that. Good. And then our right hand is going to have that E flat and C. And we put that together. Right. And we have that minor chord quality. The second chord of the B flat major scale. Good. Let's go to the dominant. 2 frequently moves to 5 in our chord progressions. Okay. So we've got an octave F in the bass. And you can reach that. Great. And then we move to the treble. And we've got our middle C, F, and A. Okay. And can you play those? Good. Now put them together. Great. Now you've got the dominant chord in the key of B flat. Great. Very nice. Any questions at all? Have a seat. Good. This is weary subway commuters are treated to amazing gospel, amazing grace. Back to computer. And good luck with your homework.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound I